What up? So this is something new we're just trying out. So don't trip. It's we got what's up, Dan? We got to work on some things. So don't bear with us a little bit. Um, so instead of putting your questions in the little comment feed on the right hand side, you got to submit your question in the screen queue. All right. So that way we can get it put up on the screen so I can answer your questions. And we're just gonna fly through it. We're gonna do about 20 minutes. So you guys just we got questions queued up already. So we'll just go from there. That's about it. If you wanna ask questions, you got to create a Spreecast account. That's the only way you can ask questions. And hey Ray, that question you just put in on the sheet there on the right hand side, put that in the screen queue. That way I can see it on my screen and I can answer it with it while we're doing this video. And that's about it. The team's looking good. We've been doing well. Obviously, yesterday was a tough win for us, but a W is a W. We don't like having the offensive games that we had, but it was a struggle. But we got the W, so that's all that matters. So I guess we'll go ahead and get this started, and my guy will shoot up the first question, and we'll get to work. All right, so Laura Jones, she wants to know, in my time off, what do I like to do for fun, and how often do I get to visit my family? Well, honestly, Laura, we don't really get to visit our family that often. The only time we do is when they come up here to Seattle to visit us, or when they come to games or away games during the off season. We've got so much stuff going on during the off season that we don't get much time either. But usually I'll go home for about a month, and then my family always comes up here for Christmas and New Year's. Get to spend time with them, my little brother. But other than that, having fun during the off season or during my off time, sleeping. That's pretty much it. I like to play Madden, kick it at my house, just relax, get my body healthy for the next game. That's pretty much it. Next question. So Patrick Goldline wants to know, what was the feeling coming into Arizona and having the 12s dominate the arena, giving it a home game feel? It was unbelievable, to be honest with you. I've never been a part of a situation where it was an away game and the fans coming to the stadium were on our side, and it seemed like it was a home game. It was funny because it was weird. We make a big play on defense or offense, and you hear the crowd cheer, and you're not used to that in an away game. I didn't know there was that many 12s in Arizona, but it was amazing for us. It was a great experience just because last time we were in Arizona we had some trouble and we didn't really have the impact that we had this year, and it was big time for us. Next question. So Sir W. Wright, I don't know what if that's a typo or not. He says, if the Seahawks release you today, what other NFL team would you like to play for? That's a good question. I really like to be close to home. I've been away from my family for about 7 years now. Obviously, home being Florida. I wouldn't mind going to Miami, but I'm not considering being away from the Seattle Seahawks in any regard. I love it here. I love the fans. I love my teammates. I love the organization, and I want to be a Seahawk for a long time. So we're not thinking about that. So Joe Emarino, I believe that's how you pronounce your last name. Who is your best friend on the team? Who do you respect on the team the most? And have you watched Making of a Champion? My best friend on the team, that would have to be Richard Sherman. Obviously, I've known him for about 8 years now. One of my best friends. And probably respect the most on the team is Richard Sherman. I know where he's come from. I know where he grew up. I know the type of lifestyle that he's led and what he's had to accomplish to get to where he's at today. So for that man to be as a significant player in our defense, and then also the type of person he is, he's overcome a lot. So I respect him. I have the utmost respect for that man, just because I know where he's coming from. And I have not watched Making of a Champion yet. I heard it was pretty good. I just haven't had time to watch it yet because I'm too busy answering questions with you guys. No, I'm joking. But no, I will take some time to watch it, but I have not watched it yet. Carlos Marquez, have you talked to Sidney Rice, after finding out about his injury? Yeah, I have. He sent all the receivers a text message when he found out, and it was kind of devastating news for us because Sidney's been going through a lot. He had a lot of injuries that he had to deal with in the off season. He was just starting to turn the corner with his knee, and you could see it on the field. He was starting to run better. He was starting to come out of his routes better, and you could see that Sidney was starting to return to Sidney form, but unfortunately, that's the name of the game. It's the business, the nature of this game, this sport. Injuries are going to happen, and the next man up, fortunately enough, I'll be able to get some more reps. Jermaine Kearse will get some reps. Brian Welters will get some play, and I know a lot of you guys want to know who's going to be called up to help fill that role, that void. I think there's a certain guy named Ricardo Lockett. I can't say officially, but I can pretty much say with 100% accuracy that he will be called up. But as like I said, that was devastating news about Sidney, but it happens. So we got to keep moving forward, and he'll definitely be a mentor to us and help us throughout the rest of the season. So Megan Turner, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? I would love to be invisible. Well, it's a tie between being invisible and being able to fly. I think being able to fly without the use of a tool like an airplane or something would be pretty amazing. But being able to be invisible and be sneaky and do things without people knowing, that would be pretty funny. But the superpower definitely have to be either be invisible or flying. So Ethan Dawkins, what is it like playing for the Seahawks? What is it like playing professional football? It's awesome. First off, playing for the Seahawks. I think most of you guys know the Seahawks is probably the best organization in the NFL when it comes to taking care of their players. And the facility itself is unbelievable. We're right on the water. The city of Seattle doesn't get much better than that. I mean, yeah, it does rain occasionally and there's clouds, but during the summertime and the springtime, there's no better place in the world. So playing for the Seahawks has been an unbelievable experience for me in my past 3 years, and I couldn't see myself playing anywhere else. And as far as what is it like playing professional football, it's a little bit different. Growing up, Little League football is all about the love of the game. High school football is all about the love of the game. And then, once you got to the latter part of high school, you got into college, you started thinking about your future and what you want to do in terms of football. And for me, my dream has always been playing in the NFL. I've always dreamt of hearing my name called by the commissioner. Obviously, that didn't happen, but that's a different story. But in the NFL, it's a completely different game. I mean, obviously, it's football. It's football at its purest form, but there's a business side of it, and that's a $10 billion business and an industry that does sometimes happen to leak into the playing side of it, but that's just what happens. And I try to keep that as separate as possible, and I just like to enjoy play football. So I guess that's the best answer I could give you. Chris Napper wants to know, which NFL team do you dislike the most? Well, as professional athletes, I don't think I necessarily dislike any other professional athlete unless they cause problems with me on the field or off the field. So obviously, being a Seattle Seahawk, there's a big issue with the San Francisco 49ers. And you guys all know the history there with Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh. Myself with Jim Harbaugh, there's some stuff that's said right there, and I don't necessarily dislike all the players. I actually have admire some of the players on the 49ers, but I think anytime that we go up against the 49ers, it's a big game for us because, that's the team we want to beat the most. Hawk fan, after a touchdown, it is very seldom a ball is given to a fan. Does a league team frown upon it? No, the league and team don't frown upon it, but you got to understand that scoring a touchdown in the NFL is a rarity. is something that we've dreamed about when we were younger, and holding on to those footballs is actually pretty important to us. I know a lot of the guys, every football that they have an impact with, whether it be an interception, a fumble recovery, or including a touchdown, they want to keep that football because it's a special moment for them. So for me personally, I like to keep them because you never know when the next one's going to come. It's just the NFL sometimes stands for not for long. So all those memories, all those experiences, you want to save them. And I gave my first touchdown football to my mom because I thought it was special. So unfortunately, most of the guys won't give them to the fans. Pamela Kennedy, are you going to have another football camp for the kids next summer? My grandson loved it, and meeting you, I appreciate that. I am. I do numerous things with the Seahawks. So most of my stuff that I do on my own is back home. Just because that's, I want to spend time with my family and then be able to do something in my own community. But most of the time with the Seahawks, I'll be doing something with them, whether it's a Gatorade camp or a skills camp at the facility. I'll definitely be a part of it, and just keep looking on the website. We'll keep looking, putting that stuff up there when it comes around, and I would love to see you guys, your kids, or yourself, if you want to join in the camp. I'd love to see you guys back there again. Who was your favorite football player growing up? Dan Good wants to know. You guys might be surprised by this. Growing up in Florida, I didn't really like the Dolphins. I was always a Buffalo Bills fan, and don't ask me why. I just happened to be a Buffalo Bills fan, and the two guys on that team were my favorite players, Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed. They were spectacular players in their systems. I just had a lot of respect for those guys and what they did. And then I guess a modern day player that I've kind of tried to model my game after. And the reason why I wear number 89 is because Steve Smith in Carolina, that guy, and he's just he plays the game with a passion that I admire. And I've wanted to be more like him. I try to develop my game like him, although I look at everybody in the NFL to try to model my game after so I can, have the best of everything. But definitely, Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas as the old school Buffalo Bills, and then Steve Smith as the modern day receiver I model my game after. Thomas Pretty Man Thomas. That's a funny name. What adjustments will you guys make on the O-line to help protect Russ? That's a very good question, and not to put any problems out there, but there's, I guess you could say, football, especially on the offensive side and defensive side as well, is like having a relationship. Communication is so important. Nothing can happen without communication, and we just got to get better at it. There's some new guys on the offensive line that haven't really had the fast fire of the NFL, and they're still getting used to it. And they, the adjustments on the fly and the communication on the fly is new to them, especially at this speed. So I think the adjustments being made are not necessarily personnel-wise. It's just, we need to focus in more. We got to communicate better, and that goes from Russ down to the offensive line. Max has got to make his calls, and if Russ sees something different, he's got to effectively communicate that to the offensive line and to the running back so we can get things protected. A lot of people say that it's just the offensive line. It's one guy this, one guy there, but it's very important that we have communication. Nita Warrens wants to know, have you always played receiver? No. In Little League, I played running back and quarterback. Not really quarterback. I was more like a running back behind center because I couldn't throw the ball. But I've played receiver since high school, and receiver has been something I enjoyed doing ever since then. Carbonado students want to know, what was your favorite pet as a child? Jesse Sprouse wants to know. I actually had my mom had a poodle. Name was Sam. She had it since she was like 18 or something, and it was like the family pet, I guess you could say. And he was always quiet, and it was just like an old man that you have around the house. He's been there, done that. It was just a cool dog, and unfortunately he passed away when I was in middle school. So and my mom took it pretty hard, but that was my favorite pet growing up. That was pretty much my only pet growing up. So yeah. So Patrick Goldline, when are you going to have your own clothing line like Richard Sherman? Well, I've thought about it. But that's something I'll probably try to tackle during the off season. Right now, it's just I got so much stuff going on. Obviously, the season as well, so I'm not really focused on trying to create a clothing line. But I have some ideas in the tank that I'm working on. But if anything comes out, I'll let you guys know. And yes, Paul, that poodle was quiet. I don't know how, but I've never heard of a poodle being quiet either. But he was quiet. So Monica Ramos wants to know, do you participate in the post-prayer circle? What does that mean to you, and what do you want your fans to know? Or, let me open that up again, or understand from it. Well, I think that it's well documented that I have an affinity with my relationship with God, with my, I wouldn't say religion. I'm not a very religious person. I just believe in having a relationship and having faith in God. So I do participate in the prayer circle at times. More so, I like to communicate with God on my own, and just my personal relationship with Him. And if I was to try to make a message out of it, it would just be, you don't have to abide by, to me, you don't have to abide by all the rules of religion. To me, in the Bible, it never talked about a specific religion. It always talked about having a relationship with God. And that was the most important thing that I took away from reading the Bible and just growing up and developing my relationship. So we got 5 minutes left, and I'll try to answer as many more questions as I can, but we'll see what we can do. So let's do the next question. Kim Rock, how you really feel about that win last night? What was it like in the locker room after the game? Honestly, I felt like crap. I've never been part of a game where the offense really didn't do anything. The defense held it down for us, and it was unreal. It's frustrating because we have so much talent on the offensive side of the ball. We're so talented that we should be able to do whatever we want. We're such a capable offense of spreading the ball around and running the ball. I know Marshawn was upset about it was just on the offensive side of the ball. It felt like we lost, because we felt like we didn't contribute to the win in any regard. Golden had a nice game, but that was about it, and as an offense, we can't allow that to happen. We have to be so much better, because when it comes to playoffs, we can't play like that. The defense is going to do their thing, but the offense has got to score points, and we got to be effective on first, second, and third down. So for us to continue to play the way that we've been playing is not acceptable. But we'll get it fixed, and we'll continue to push forward. I appreciate the question, Kim. Megan Turner, what song best describes your work ethic? My work ethic, a song. That's a very good question. I don't have a song that best describes my work ethic. I guess you could say I have various songs that kind of flow with my personality in the moment. There's a song by Drake that just came out, Worst Behavior. If you haven't heard that, it's a different type of song, but it gets me in the mood. There's a specific line there that says they never loved us, and that resonates with me from in college, from not being drafted, and then from various other reasons. But that sticks with me more than a song that describes my work ethic. Eye of the Tiger's pretty good too, but that's an old song. Ray Starson wants to know, Doug, what do you think about Golden's 25-yard taunt and wave? Let's be honest. In this offense, it's very seldom that we get opportunities to run down the field like that. And I know Golden personally, and as a person, I love Golden because he didn't mean anything negative by it. He was just enjoying himself and having fun. Obviously, you don't want to jeopardize the situation. It was a close game at that point, and you don't want to put our defense in a bad situation. He knows that. He understands that now. But he was just having fun. I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't say to take anything negative away from that. Golden was just having fun. What's my favorite food? Delray. Hey, what's up, homie? That's my friend from back home. How you doing? What's my favorite food? I think you know the answer to this. It's got to be my grandmother's lumpia. That's probably the best food in the world. It's probably not the healthiest, but it is my favorite. That's for sure. Ethan Dog, why do you have number 89? Like I said, I think you already mentioned this. I wear it because I like Steve Smith. Steve Smith was my idol growing up, so I liked wearing it. I think, you know what, they said that we're going to do the last question, but I got a couple more minutes, if that's okay with y'all. Are you okay with that? I think we'll be okay with that. Can we queue up a couple more questions? There we go. Ray Starser, Doug, what do you think of the new rule changes of the Pro Bowl? Look, I don't even pay attention to the Pro Bowl. Like I said, it's so much business in the NFL. They do a lot of things to generate money. So I don't necessarily care about the rules of the Pro Bowl. Aaron wants to know, out of all the defensive backs you've gone up against, which one do you think is the toughest to match up against? So there's two types of questions there. One question would be, who's the toughest matchup outside as a receiver, and then in the slot, and then who's the best defensive back? So I guess three questions really. Who's the best defensive back that can do it all? And they're both on the Seattle Seahawks. Richard Sherman is probably the most difficult receiver or difficult defensive back to go up against when you're playing outside, just because he has a knack for understanding concepts. He understands what type of leverage receivers want to get to as they're playing outside receivers. And then Thurman Thomas is probably the best all-around corner we have, because he can do it both. He can do both. He can play inside. He can play outside. Inside's a totally different game for the defensive backs. The receiver has a three-way go, and so they have to be quick on their feet. They have to be able to adjust and do a lot of things. So I think for me, the best matchup, the one I enjoy the most, is going up against Walter Thurman. So we'll do one more question. And then I got to run. I got to eat dinner and then get to sleep. So one more question. Trisha Fick wants to know, my 14-year-old nephew, Brian, wants to be a receiver when he grows up. What advice do you give to kids who want to live the dream? And can you please tell him to stop leading with his helmet? Oh, and he had his first mild concussion. Please stop leading with your helmet, first and foremost. Any advice I can give to him as a receiver, I'd say I just give him advice for life. It doesn't matter if he wants to be a football player, if he wants to be an astronaut, a pilot, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, a policeman, fireman, it doesn't matter. There's going to be times in life when you face obstacles that you might not think you can overcome, but you got to keep going. There was some times in my junior year in college that I almost quit football, almost quit college. But, it was that word dream. I had been dreaming about making it to the NFL, dreaming about being successful in life my entire life. And, I couldn't give up. I couldn't stop. And I had a great my family supported me and pushed me and backed me. And, they always told me to keep going and never give up. And that's the only advice I could give him is, if he wants to be a receiver in the NFL, whatever he wants to do, he has everything he wants to do as long as he doesn't give up. All right, guys, I appreciate you guys checking in and sending your questions. Unfortunately, this is the first time we're doing this, so we're taking a little time to figure it out. I hope, unfortunately, I didn't get to all your questions. Hopefully, I answered most of them, but we'll do this again and we'll perfect it and get better at it. And I appreciate you guys, and I'll holler at you later. Hey, by the way, stay fresh. Peace.